Welcome back, students who are taking financial accounting, and in this series of videos we are starting on the chapter 5 assigned homework problems from the digital study guide. They're the exercise problems for group B, and as always, if you're watching this video and you don't arrive at the answer and you still that's the application part of watching me do the problem, and if you still don't understand how the answers arrived at, then it's a lack of understanding, and therefore go back and restudy the materials, the textbook, watch the theory videos, and if you still don't understand, then feel free to contact an instructor. So let me move on to the first problem here. All right, so it says here, let me get my pen. All right, Underwater World carries a line of waterproof watches. They use the FIFO method and a perpetual inventory system. Right. The sales price of each is $185. The company records indicate the following activity for the month of March. Prepare a perpetual inventory record for waterproof watches to determine the amount Underwater World should report for ending inventory and cost of goods sold using the FIFO method, and then journalize the inventory transactions using the FIFO method, and assume that all purchases and sales are on account. Right. Okay, so if we're going to create this, and I put this over on the side here. As a matter of fact, let me do this. I'm going to squinch this down a little bit here so I have a little bit more room. All right, so on March 1st, we have a beginning balance of 6 units at $100 each. So that's $600 is my total inventory on hand, my total cost. So this is my total cost. Then on March 7th, I purchase 8 at 108, which is $864. So now I have an additional 8 at 108. So my total, so my total would be the 864 and the 600, or 1464 is my total cost. Because now I have, I'm trying to consider. All right, so there. Let's do it this way. So I draw a line here. Okay, so I have 6 at 100 gives me 600, and 8 at 108 gives me 864, and that gives me a total of 1464. Okay, maybe that's the way to do this here. All right, then on 3/11, we sell 10 of those units. Now, if we're selling, so this is purchases, and this is sales, okay, or cost of goods sold, right, for our sales. So I'm selling 10. Now the question is which 10 am I taking? And if we're using FIFO, remember that's the first ones in or the first ones out. Remember the refrigerator. What were the first ones that were put in? We put in 6 first at $100, and then we push those to the back, and then we put 8 in the front. Well, if we're taking first in, first out, right, using the FIFO method, first ones out have to be the 6. So I'm going to be getting rid of this 6 here, right, which means I have to account for 4 more. So when I take out 4 more, right, I end up with 4 at, oops, let me read. So I end up with 4 at 108, which is $432 is my total cost for the inventory. Okay. Then on 3/19, I purchased 13 more at 112, and 13 times 112 is 1,456. So now for my total units in inventory, I have 4 at 108, which is 432, and I have 13 at 112, which is 1456, and then that gives me a total inventory of, let's see, 888, a total cost of $1,888. And on 3/28, I sell 9 more. Okay, so again, using first in, first out, what are we going to take? Well, out of what we have here, right? Why is my, there we go. Sorry about that. Let me get rid of that. So out of what we have here, we're going to get rid of 4, all right? So that means we have 5 left that we have to get rid of. Why does this keep popping up? Sorry about this. I don't understand why that's popping up. Right, close. All right. So I have to get rid of 5. I get rid of 4, and that means I have 5 left, so I have 8 left at 112. So 8 times 112 is $896 is the bottom line for my cost of my inventory. Now, to figure out what we had for our cost of goods sold, all right, we had 10 units sold here, so that's 6 at 100 and 4 at 108. Okay, and here for the 9 we have 4 at 108, and we have 5 at 112. And so when we take 6 times 100 is 600. We have 4 at 108 is 432. We have another 4 at 108, which is another 432. And we have 5 at 112, which is another 560. And when we add those all together, okay, we end up with $2,024. So that's going to be the value of our cost of goods sold. And of course, the value of our purchases are the 864 and the 1456, or that would end up being 2320. Okay. So the total amount of our purchases for the period was 2,320. The total of our cost of goods sold is this plus this, which gives us 2,024. And then, of course, the value of our inventory at the end of the accounting period is 896. So now it tells me that I need to make journal entries. Journalize the transactions. Assume that all purchases and sales are on account. Okay, so on March 7th, we're buying 8 at 108, so that's 864, and it's on account. So we're going to credit accounts payable for 864. I have to debit something else, so I'm going to debit inventory. So that's my entry for 3/7. Okay. Now for 3/11, I'm going to make a sale here. So I make the sale for 10 of them, right? So for 3/11, we're selling them on account, and we're selling them at $185 each, right? So I sold 10 at 185, so I have 1850 is the amount of the total sale, right? So, and I'm selling them on account. So my accounts receivable, I'm going to debit accounts receivable for $18.50, and I'm going to credit sales revenue for $18.50. When you make, always remember that when you make a sale and it's affecting inventory, you have to make a second journal entry in order to be able to take it out of inventory and put it to cost of goods sold. So if we're taking it out of inventory, and we know inventory is an asset account, we're going to credit our inventory account for the total value of whatever is coming out. So that was 6 at 100, which is 600, and 4 at 108 is 432. So that's 1032 is the amount of the value we have to take out of inventory and put it to cost of goods sold. Right. So we'll credit inventory for 1032, and we debit our cost of goods sold account for 1032. Okay, so that's the entry for 311. Right. Now pause the video and write down these journal entries if you have to, because I'm going to erase them. All right, here I go. I'm going to erase them. Now realize we're basically doing the same thing for the rest of these entries. It's very repetitive here. For those who this is one of these here where if you're mimicking what's in the textbook, you can probably get this right. But remember, if you don't know how to make a journal entry up front, in other words, you didn't know how to make this journal entry for 317 or 311, you're dead in the water. And go back through that process. Watch the theory videos on how to make a journal entry when you don't know how, and you can see somewhat of the thought process to be able to make those initial entries. But once you've made those entries there, I mean, you've made the entry for the purchase, you've made the entry for the sale, well then, these entries for 319 and 328 actually become, the same entries, with just the difference being that you have different amounts. So on 319, we're buying $1,456 worth of inventory. So I debit inventory for the $1,456, and I'm going to credit accounts payable for the $1,456. And then on 328, we're making a sale, right? So I'm going to debit the accounts receivable in the amount of $1,665, credit sales revenue for $1,665, and then of course I make that sale, so I have to move from inventory. So I'm going to credit my inventory, and the amount that I'm crediting the inventory is the 4 at 108, which is 432, and 5 at 112, which is 560. So that's 992 is how much I have to take out of inventory. So I credit my inventory 992, and debits have to equal credits, so I'm going to debit cost of goods sold for 992. Okay, so that's it for this exercise. And if you didn't understand any of that or some of that, go back and watch the, pause, rewind, watch the video again, or go back and watch the other theory videos. Okay. Let's see here, I'm at 14 minutes. Yeah, let's see here. And this one is going to be about LIFO. Basically, we're going to use the same data, same information, but we'll do it from a LIFO perspective. So I'm going to pause the video here, and we'll work on this same problem using the LIFO method in the next video.